All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Love in the Land podcast. I'm so excited to be here with the one, the only, the Mr. Chef Rocco Whalen, owner, operator, chef, studmaster general of Fahrenheit here in Cleveland and also in Charlotte. I mean, he's kept my pocketbook light for a long time, but also my pants very tight as well with his amazing food. I mean, but it's the calories are always worth it, my man.
You know what? There's all sorts of directions you can go. The menu doesn't steer you in one way or the other.
Well, God forbid I'd want some short ribs, and just continue to live off short ribs for my life.
You do like those, huh?
Dude. So when you guys were in Tremont, we live in Tremont, so it was like a 5-minute walk right over there. It was like every Thursday we'd come over. I would be getting the short ribs, and I mean, I was like, maybe I'll get a salad this time. And then when it was finally time to come, It was like, yeah, I'm going to do the short ribs. Yeah, I mean, they're too good to deny.
I appreciate that. It's a good dish that's been on the menu now for my restaurant life span of 25 years in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And it's fatty, it's sweet, it's savory, it's noodles. Noodles 25 years ago, Austin, not many chefs had them on their menu. There weren't a ton of noodle bars or, ramen places. So to bring those ingredients kind of into Cleveland a little bit with Premier Produce and some of the other specialty food companies.
Yeah.
Just what we do. I love the short ribs, though. I mean, it's our number one dish, still is. Both states, actually. Charlotte kills it, too, with it. And whether it's comfort food, Midwest roll your sleeves up, or New South, Charlotte, I just want to have a nice light short rib. There's nothing light about it, but for whatever reason, it's fashionable to stick it in a steam bun or put it into a spring roll as well, and the derivatives from it. But this short rib itself is, I know we've toasted to it a lot.
We came out swinging with it. If you notice here, I do a little bit of, some might call me a hack journalist. It's okay. But I do preparation, and I do some stuff over here as well. But I have questions written out. But then I literally just have short ribs on the note. And I was like, I got to talk about the short ribs.
Too. You start with it, and then you come back to it. But take reverence, and you're not a hack. You asked me yesterday, you want to talk about anything specifically? No, but you do your due diligence. And I don't do a lot of these, so I'm here to talk about it and unzip my brain for an hour and just give you a little mind of the madness. As a chef and an operator, you're a philanthropist, you're an entrepreneur, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a psychologist, you're a bank, you're a lot of things to a lot of people, and that is the gratifying and the grateful side of what I do. But there's a lot of initiatives. I'm that guy shoveling snow for the neighbor in Tremont or on 55 Public Square, and I've always been doing it, and I believe that the city and the fabric of the cities are built on its people, and that's just kind of who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have a staple restaurant, it becomes a watering hole. It becomes so much more than food, and that's what you've been able to do at both your restaurants that you've had here in Cleveland, and also I'm sure in Charlotte as well. I'm privy to the ones in Cleveland, but what is it like to be able to, create an atmosphere that not only can people go and have great food, celebrate big achievements in their life, but also have it be a place where people come and gather, make friends, make community, because these restaurants and small businesses really become the fabric of places like Cleveland.
Great question. The dynamic of my team helps me set the hospitality table. It starts with my wife. She's in control of, everything you see, from the door to the experience at the hostess station, to the floral, to the marble in the floor in the dining room on 55, to into the, that vast space with the beautiful chandelier, into the kitchen stadium that's, so successful because Cleveland is such a supporter of such local, and I bleed Cleveland, they bleed me. You have to have a good motor and a good engine to do anything. Speaking of, we'll talk classic cars in a little bit, and classic hot rods. I'm the engine of which we produce. I got to make sure that all the spark plugs are firing. I got to make sure that there's oil, where it needs to be, and cylinders are clean and they're hustling. Restaurant life isn't easy.
Yeah.
There's people, men and women on both sides, that do it well. There's people that don't do it well. There's corporate greed. There's things that you can do. Here's the thing. I rest my, I've got long-time employees that have been with me for decades, and I've been around for decades, so that says something to it. But it certainly isn't easy to navigate in these waters, but it's also gratifying to do it. And Lexi does a really nice job of finding a home for everybody. We're downtown 55. We're lunch and dinner, lunch Tuesday through Friday. Happy hour starts at 4. I think it's the best happy hour in the city. It's $4 plates, sizzling beef, crispy spring roll, shrimp cocktail, oysters. It's $4 plates.
Yeah.
I'm here for everybody. I want all dynamics to be fulfilled. And with Sherwin-Williams opening in a couple months, and just the late night and the rooftop and the summer and Cleveland and the exploration of Cleveland and its citizens, I'm pro Cleveland, always have been. And Lexi gets a lot of credit that she doesn't get, but man, I'm involved in the food, the operations, and the decor. And, we made a soft space in Tremont that was warm and cuddly for 22 years.
Yeah.
Proud of that restaurant, proud of that neighborhood, proud that you walked in for short ribs so many times, or the neighborhood, or I served bacon on the bar, or I helped or watched, other great restaurants open, whether it was Ginkgo or Dante or across the way, or, the Treehouse continued to, thrive for 30 years, or the Flying Monkey Pub, or Thai Fun, or Sokolowski's, or Lucky's, or, Civilization Coffee Shop, or, Steak, the new place with unlimited French fries.
Yeah.
I'm here for all the neighborhoods. I'm here for I don't even belong in that neighborhood anymore. I miss the neighborhood. People ask me all the time, you feel any sort of way? Cleveland's always been good to me, whether I'm in Tremont or downtown on Public Square. I love this city. I believe in the neighborhoods. I want the neighborhoods to continue to be saturated with folks for happy hours, for late nights, for early evenings, for brunches, all the segments, all the coverage, Ohio City, Detroit Shoreway, Slavic Village. The list goes on and on. I'm a deep guy. I do a lot of different things. I challenge myself. I challenge my mind. I work out with really, really amazing guys at a boxing gym that, Stipe and all those guys work out at. I'm friendly to some of those fellows. I do some meal planning for those guys. So it all comes into the equation of the restaurant. That's a deep question, deep answer. I'm going to end it with this. Without my wife and her flexibility, and she is a career woman herself, Austin, just like your wife, who balances it both sides of the city. She handles so much for the restaurant, but she also handles her professional life. She's a killer, a monster. I married up, and I married in the right way so much.
Yeah, and that when you talk to people, and this was ingrained in my head as a little kid, is that marry the right person the first time, because your life will be, no matter what's kind of thrown your way, if you're married to the wrong person, when bad times come, sometimes it makes those harder times even harder. But if you're married to the right person, you're able to guide through those tough waters. And also then when the good times are really great, but I think my wife and I have talked about this. I think we would struggle working together. How have you guys been able to navigate those waters?
Self-respect for each other.
Sure.
You certainly have to treat each other the way you want to be treated. You have to be flexible, because my ideals are sometimes not aligned with her ideals. We're simply here to make everybody happy and want to make sure customers have a reason to come back, a reason to celebrate, a reason to get a selfie, a reason to go on the roof, a reason to have a bite at the food truck, a reason to hit one of our 5 stores at Brown Stadium, or the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame All Access Cafe, or Rocket Mortgage, Portal 3, Rocco's at the Q. But with that being said, Charlotte's got a food truck. We've got a 21st floor rooftop restaurant there that's been very successful for the last 12 years. She does that as well. We navigate both cities. It's not easy, but it can be done.
Yeah.
We have a very strong calendar. We talk a lot. We are transparent. And last night I was in a heavyweight battle with a grill on the east side in Chagrin Falls for 4 hours at a Make-A-Wish, because, the Philanthropy, that's a big deal to you and me.
Totally.
Your
Absolutely.
event, at Market Garden a few months, 6 weeks back, that you raise money for, and you bring in the city civic leaders and Tim Misney and Sam McNulty's and the guys you mentioned, the people that are in the circles of great people in the city.
Yeah.
You got to do that stuff. So last night was a Make-A-Wish, inverted Italian grill, rotisserie style. Yeah, I'm here to tinker. I get in there and I get going. Pizza oven next door. I'm in my element.
Yeah. And, you have an empire here in Cleveland that's even gone down to Charlotte as well. The restaurants being in all the arenas, being in the stadiums. Everyone who knows anything about food here in Cleveland knows your name, knows your reputation, knows how good your food is. But that all started somewhere. I kind of want to know where, the genesis of your passion for food. And, it's even before the restaurants came. It started with a passion of food. Where did that start for you?
It was simply in the kitchen with my mother and my grandmother.
Yeah.
Whether you look at me as big-boned, large, obese, morbid, whatever you call it, I've had all those nicknames. I was threatened and belittled a little bit growing up.
Sure.
My mother and grandmother, not saved me, but gave me a pathway to not have hurt feelings, not be that guy alone at the bus stop. And it led me to the kitchen and, neck bones and red sauce and fresh cavatellis. And my grandmother, Isabel, rest her soul. And my mother, rest her soul. My mother died when she was 56. She was very young. I was the first year in Tremont, second year in Tremont. She only got to really enjoy my restaurants for a very short period of time. That was it. That was the spark. And, from then on, Austin, I got to tell you, the timing was there. I went to culinary school in 1995. Graduated, I was a decent football player, Menor High, which is a great program. Shout out, Lake County.
Yeah.
With that being said, I was also in home ec.
Yeah.
I was making cupcakes with 15 other girls.
That's awesome.
And I was knocking it out of the park. And
Yeah.
I wanted to be a chef, and the timing was right because at the time, Emeril Lagasse and Martha Stewart and, these prominent people were on the Food Network, and pork fat was ruling, and people were saying it, and the network was getting this traction. Not just that, though. You start seeing, the ethnic aisles of grocery stores really just start to balloon with ingredients.
Sure.
It's not just like you and I can go to Giant Eagle right now or, Heinen's locally, wherever you want to talk about or shout out. We can walk through an Asian department. We can walk through a Mexican, Hispanic department. We can walk through a German, Polish, ethnicity, Eastern European department. Fine pickled beets, fine jarred beets. You couldn't do that 25 years ago at the grocery store.
Yeah.
One part to that is that's how I've watched the system evolve, but also the restaurant realm evolve. And the secondary is, you got to truly not give people what I think they want. You got to give people what they want.
Sure.
And be proactively optimistic about their opinion because it matters.
Yeah.
Well,
as with chefs, it is an art, and you probably have a specific vision of how you want something done, but if it doesn't make sense and people don't respond to it, or they don't want something the right way, you're a classically trained chef, does it kind of kill you to have to dumb some things down, or just so other people might agree with it or like it or purchase it? Because then you're also kind of in a business aspect of it too. Where does that struggle come for you, and where do you find a happy medium with that?
I would say early on in my career, yes, I definitely was like, it should be this way. This is the way I want you to have my food. There's no salt and pepper shakers on the table.
Yeah.
I've done it perfectly. This is my vision. But over time, and I'll say this to you, as a classically trained chef, I'm a classically trained chef, but I've been an owner and operator since 2001. And man, when you throw that hat on, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're here for results. You're here for the bottom line. You're here for the weekly, the monthly, the daily. With that being said, you have to balance creative with what people want and what people need. I look at it this way. It's like you and I could go out, and the four of us, and your wife wants to, eat vegetarian.
Sure.
And some restaurants are going to put mashed potatoes that probably have butter and cream in them because they really don't make a separate batch of vegan mashed potatoes, Austin, with almond butter or cashew butter or whatever,
Yeah.
Let's be realistic here. And maybe some steamed vegetables. It's like really no effort and emphasis to it. We challenge our chefs, marinated tofu, hit with some sesame, put on the grill with some broccolini and some chives, finished with some nice rice pilaf, started with raisins and almonds. You can accept complacency in this business. You can accept marginal, but my business and how I built it up is based on exactly the lesson. I want to exceed your expectations.
Yeah.
I don't want you to have steamed vegetables and whipped potatoes at my place and it's an afterthought that you have a vegetarian coming in. I want you to enjoy everything about my place, from the scents to the smells to the bourbon cart to the Bananas Foster cart. They're all in play and they're all live in the kitchen and the stadium aspect. And all of that comes together based on, doing it right, having a vision, making it happen on the daily. And daily, it's a complete edit of, we flip the page daily.
Yeah. So standout football player, you're doing some home ec.
I wouldn't say stand out. I was beefy.
Yeah.
I was big. My brother and I. Look at these shoulders. Look at this shoulder span.
You got a lot going on over here.
Stand out? No. I was stand out in home ec. I played football.
Sure. But you had a passion for sports. So you were at kind of a cornerstone of, of two paths of jock, but also, home ec and cupcakes and the whole deal.
No, dude.
But when was kind of like the flipping moment for you when you were like, you know what, I'm going to go to culinary school. I want to pursue this as my career, as my job, as my life of cooking.
I was I took one visit to Toledo
Sure.
to check out the
University of Toledo.
the nursing program.
Oh, nice.
I ended up drinking a bunch of Heinekens with my brother's best friend and deciding that night that I really liked culinary. I thought the pathway to it was righteous and the timing was right and I was good at it. It was, something I did with my mom and my grandmother extended into my first restaurant experience at, Joey Longo's on Lakeshore Boulevard in Menor, Ohio. And it led towards working at, the Cabin in Wickliffe, which is a small steakhouse, still is. And I did my high school senior project there. That's really what flipped the switch for me. It's like, okay, you're 18. I don't like Toledo, and I'm not going to. Can you see me in smocks and like White Claw? I mean, I could do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would be that orderly guy, like, no problem.
Sure.
I'm a hustler, but
You could really enhance the hospital food.
with
I'm
that,
sure.
that, yes. Now, but with that being said, though, like I wanted to do something that I felt could lead me down a career path, and went to culinary school in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because it was close and it was quick and it was a 2-year program. And then I launched out west, Phoenix, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. Wolfgang Puck, you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Before we started, worked 6 years for him.
How did that door open for you?
So I went out west to work at a Hilton for a year to kind of get my feet wet.
Okay.
Point Hilton Resort, West 7th Street, Tapatio Cliffs, Phoenix, Arizona. Wonderful city, the Valley of the Sun.
And being a Cleveland guy, a Midwest guy, was it hard for you to go out there, or were you kind of like ready to roll and kind of get out and grow some wings?
Well, I wanted to always be around Cleveland, Browns fan, Indians fan, passionate Guardians fan, Crunch fan, Kai Hoskovy back in the day, that kind of guy. With that being said, I could always come back to Cleveland. That was my mindset early on, but also there were only so many options. It was the Ritz-Carlton. It was Sans Souci at the time, which is the new Hotel Cleveland across the square from me. It was Sans Souci, a French. There were a handful of restaurants. Michael Simon wasn't even. He had just started Lola. So for me, I was like, I'm going to go out west. I'm going to see what it's all about. So I went to the Hilton.
This is late 90s, like 90.
Yeah, 96,
Okay.
95, 96, 90. I lived in Phoenix, 97, Los Angeles, 98, 99. Came home here to Blue Point in 2000 for 1 year.
Sure.
Exactly 1 year. Just to meet the folks I wanted to meet, shake some hands, reintroduce myself to the Browns, which led me towards, the programming I have. I'm the Taste of the NFL co-chair, director. I do 5 stores at the stadium. I've been to 16 Super Bowls. I'm a pretty passionate Browns fan through and through. I think we go 13-4 this year. I'm just saying.
I was going to ask you at the end what you thought.
I'm ready. Let's go.
You ready to roll?
Yeah, let's go. I got
I'm a little worried about Deshaun.
I got meatballs. I'm not worried about them all.
Not worried? Okay,
You
good.
ask the right people, he can make every throw. Jack Conklin, Black Jack Conklin's back. We're going to get Jared back in the tackle side. We could talk all about it. We can. We're worried.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I forget what I was saying. You got me off on that.
You coming back to Cleveland? Was that something that you were also? So you go to the West Coast for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, West Coast was like option, opportunity. Wolfgang Puck, Hilton. He was coming to Phoenix. I laid in front of the car, got the job, started as a line cook, worked my way up.
Did you literally lay in front of his car?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, it was young in his company. I started, I think, 6th or 7th restaurant of his company, and that grew to 30 while I worked for him for those 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
And when the time was right, I was young, I was ambitious, and they sent me to L.A. to work in some of his restaurants in Beverly Hills and Hollywood. And, at that point, you're dealing with, money that's F you kind of money.
Absolutely.
It's like you're dealing with the celebrities, the A-listers. Dusk Till Dawn, we did the wrap party for George Clooney with, George Clooney. He talks of his pack of friends or smaller actors in his realm that he slept in the closets. The 12 most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life, Austin, with George Clooney.
I believe it.
I mean, he would shut the restaurant down, and this is late 90s. So it's like, you think back to those times and what we were doing.
And he wasn't even George Clooney at that point. He was coming off of ER.
Dusk Till Dawn, those early kind of things. I mean, and like the air up there and the stuff he's done recently and since then, 15, 20. I mean, he's a great, those are the kind of experience I had at 22 years old. Mm-hmm. So to come back home to Cleveland and, set down my spikes. My mom got sick. My mom had, treated for university hospitals, beautiful, beautiful programming over there, Island Cancer Center. My mom passed, came home because she got sick, and I watched her, have a really great couple years on the tail end of her life.
Yeah.
Again, she watched me open in Tremont, had a handful of dinners there. It was tough at times, but on the other side of that, my brother, firefighter, civil servant, Paynesville Township, #2 full-time mentor, full-time firefighter, EMT, paramedic. So he covered, I covered, but, my mother kind of raised us as an Italian-American family. My father, so at the time, my mom passed, and I was home, and I had this restaurant. And, Tremont at the time was young and bubbling. It wasn't anything where it's gone, where it's going, where it's been. There weren't places like Pins on West 25th that were open at this time. It was Tremont. It was Ohio City. It was the market. It was us. And speaking of the market's great for restauranteurs like me, because on a Friday or Saturday, if you couldn't meet that $500 minimum delivery, you could bang over to the market, get the pork you needed or get the bacon you needed for $130 and survive.
Yeah.
Karen Small, Eric Williams, Rocco Whalen, Dante Bocuzzi, the names, the list go on and on of all of us successful people that have done that. And that's what the West Side Market, the 110th or 100th anniversary, and the money and the fundraising and the fact now that they're run by a non-P.
Yeah.
This is big because it salvaged me in Tremont. And it's a bridge, Abbey Road, get across the bridge. I can get bacon, and I don't have to spend $500.
You could be back in 15 minutes.
So $370 savings. Better believe that made a difference in 2001 in my restaurant company, or 2002.
Yeah.
Shout out to the West Side Market, but I mean, like I said, the neighborhoods, the cities, it's all what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what Cleveland's all about. But, restaurateurs helping restaurateurs, and the community continue to lifting up the community. But, walking in, you were, you were 26 when you opened 27 when you opened up the first restaurant? 24 when you opened up Fahrenheit?
Yeah, I graduated high school.
When I was 24, I was a freaking idiot. I would own.
No, you weren't. You just weren't there yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I didn't really. I had $50,000 I scraped together at 24 after I came back from Los Angeles and Phoenix and Arizona. I got paid well. You do get paid well out there. So I was a young. And you listen, in this business as a chef, you can hang out with women, drive fast cars, drink, and do those other things that come along with it.
Yeah.
Work hard. I put my head down. I worked hard. I saved every dollar. Came home, tried to take care of my mom, put together a little bit of money. Tremont, next thing you know, it was 88 Keys. It was a piano bar. Mm-hmm. It was all maroon, Ralph Lauren, like M83, Maroon 83, the entire place. Ceiling, floors, walls. Michael Simon's Lola, the award-winning, the acclaimed at the time, 2 blocks away. Could walk out that door, see his place. I'm like, all right, here we go. The flowers were still on the tables from 88 Keys.
Huh.
Sat in an Akron library, leafing through books. What am I going to call it? Rocco's, that means it's got to be Italian. I don't want to do just Italian.
Sure.
I like Mediterranean. I like Asian. Dumplings. You and I get together. We eat family style. We eat seared beef, Wagyu, all the shellfish, oysters. Fahrenheit was that name that kept me dipped in one toe into the culinary science water. 212 degrees Fahrenheit, boiling water. 600 degrees Fahrenheit, a hard char sear. 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, wood oven.
Yeah.
So that was the Fahrenheit emphasis, the name. We rolled in 2001, and the first decade was a lot of heavy lifting. My performa was like a third of what I thought. So we tripled what I thought we'd do in the first year. And, Tremont got really, really successful, not just because of me. All the chefs, Zach Burrell at the time, Dante Bocuzzi, Michael Hirschman, Theory, Costas, Southside. This is pre-Southside, but Southside came right off the top rope with an elbow.
Yeah.
Sherwin came right off the top rope with a knee, and laid down that market segment. And then you have, Dempsey's Oasis, which is the Buildings and Food now with Le Cave de Vin, and Little Ronnie's Pizza. Man, the neighborhoods have evolved generationally, by decades, and I've watched it grow. And I'm happy to say and happy to report that it's nice to see a Martha's on the fly.
Yeah.
I can go get an egg sandwich with you, or you can bring some out-of-towners in and walk Tremont on a Saturday morning.
That place will cure any hangover you have.
It will.
It's awesome.
Breakfasty. Tremont's great for Heather Lucky's down the way. The $1 Million Bacon she does with the almond crust.
Don't forget about Grumpy's too, man.
Grumpy, those girls, they've been doing it for years, and they're wonderful too.
Yeah.
Pancakes are fantastic. West 14th is I believe held up by those girls, and Lincoln Park Pub. And, there's so many great restaurants and so many different places. We haven't even touched on Lakewood or the West Side or the Near West Side. But, lovers and all, we could talk about it. This is a great city. There's great food. There's great dining. There's great options. I can take you out tonight and have a drink, give you a drink you've never had before, a piece of meat you've never tried before.
Yeah, it's so underrated, having not grown up here. I got the call in 2018 to be like, hey, we're having an opening for a morning show in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm from Rockford, Illinois. And it was like, interesting, Cleveland. So I very quickly am like, what size market is this? And I was like, oh, it's a top 20 market. Let's go here. And so I really had no idea what I was really walking into. I thought I was going to be here for a year, 2 years tops. And then I kind of got immersed into the culture. I'm like, wow, like Cleveland is so underrated.
Working on 7 years now, Austin.
Working on 7 years, baby. Let's rock and roll.
You met your wife here too, right?
Met my wife here, and I'm a
Her
Clevelander.
family's big here?
You know? Yeah, in Twinsburg.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, Twinsburg itself, Solon, Aurora, that whole area, Hudson, fantastic part of town.
Yeah, it's like
Fantastic part of town.
wherever you go, it's so underrated. But take me back to when you were 24 years old. You get the keys, you open up the first day. You know, Michael Simon, who was becoming a household name, an award-winning chef, was right down the street. I mean, was there intimidation? Were you just like, was there just a blind arrogance of like, you know, and confidence to go into this? But what was kind of like your feeling opening up that place in Fahrenheit and, you know, letting people in and be like, all right, let's rock and roll?
I'll tell you this, 0.0 arrogance. Michael, first thing I did, and I was stirring the pot in Blue Point for the year I was there, and I was coming back from 5-6 years of really intense Wolfgang Puck, you know, Oscars dinners, George Clooney, we talked about Dusk Till Dawn earlier, that kind of stuff. So at a high level, lobster, shrimp, oysters, crab. So I was having fun at Blue Point. So we had known of each other and we were friendly, and he had invited me into, you know, his world of being, you know, friendly. He always instilled in me from the get-go, day one, play nice in the sandbox.
Sure.
Be a friend of the, you know, community, be a friend of your colleagues. And that's really kind of the way, and you know, Austin, there's people in your industry, in this business, and your other life now as the mogul that you are in real estate, that you're going to continue to listen to me talk it into existence, and I know you will, because I know who you are.
Yeah.
You can be that kind of guy. You can be an enemy. You can be a frenemy. And I've always felt, Michael always taught me, just be friendly, play nice in the sandbox. We're all here together, and don't open for lunch in Tremont. That was his biggest advice to me in 1999, 2000, when I was at Blue Point.
That's hilarious.
But no, I really wanted to add to the neighborhood. And at the time, you know, first of all, I think you got to give a shout out to Sokolowski's that opened, you know, 1912.
Yeah.
In 1892, whatever, but it was beautiful. And I miss Bernie and Mike and their sister. They're fantastic. But Ricardo Sandoval over at Fat Cats.
Yeah.
Ricky's been doing it there for 30 years almost.
Yeah,
and you know what? You walk in for a bowl of Fideo or his little hanger steak or a burger of the day or a chorizo burger. I mean, like, listen, he's everybody in Tremont has always did fit their profile or fit a mark or, you know, fill out the room. And this is pre-Dante. So at the time there wasn't a Dante, and this is pre-Parallax, which is now Steak. And like I said, Southside was the High and Dry, and the High and Dry was Theory. And you really just had the best chefs on one strip of real estate in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And before Michael had moved Lola down to East Fourth and opened Lolita, it was the place to be. You know, Austin, you could park your car at Fahrenheit, and you could have an app at my place and a beer at Edison's and a slice and Treehouse, and then make your way to Lola at the time, Lolita, for some snacks or some bites, and then finish at the South Side or, you know, pick right now. I mean, what's over there now? Tell me, give me another one. I mean, I haven't been
Southside.
Yeah, besides Southside, give me another. Barrios over there.
Oh yeah, and
Ginkgo,
Baroni. You know, there's all.
Baroni.
You know,
those guys. You know,
Barrio kind of.
There's so many options.
Yeah,
and
there's
that's
so
just
many.
kind of like what Tremont has always been about.
Yeah,
Park
it's
your
a melting
car,
pot.
Throw your keys away. Forget about it. Be safe. Take a car home.
Yeah. Or for me, walk.
Uber.
It's
Yeah.
great.
You know what I'm saying,
amazing.
though? And it's like you got to have those. When I was opening in Tremont early with Simon, we were early guys in. You know, we were chasing people away with broomsticks. We were trying to clean up the neighborhood.
Sure.
There were drug activity at phone booths. Believe it or not, there were phone booths still. And, you know, so we policed, self-policed, you know, our staff.
Yeah.
It was important. Tremont didn't have the best reputation in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And it's, you know, every neighborhood has its issues as far as, you know, policing and things. We always took it upon ourselves to try to make the neighborhood as clean, as fresh, as navigatable as possible.
Yeah, and now it's become like adult Mr. Rogers neighborhood where you like can walk around. There's families, there's people, there's
Lincoln
all
Park.
these different kinds of places to go and eat. So I mean, it's been phenomenal to see that. You know, so you were there for a number of years, and then did a second branch in Charlotte.
Yes, 2014.
How did that come about?
A developer at the time really liked my work, started courting me in 2012. My wife and I really enjoy Charlotte, North Carolina as a region. We like the water, which is 3 hours away. We like Charleston, which is 4, Atlanta 3.
Talk about a great food city. Charleston, my God.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that is up top tier, upper shelf cuisine. Same with Atlanta. Same with, I believe, Charlotte in so many different ways. It's a large banking city, so Bank of America, Wells Fargo have a strong corporate footprint there. Lots of flights.
Yeah.
So Charlotte for us, I can get there direct daily from American or like a budgeter, truly Southwestern, not a budgeter, but a lower fare airline every day. And rooftop opportunities don't happen often. At the time in 2014, there were none in Cleveland, and the weather was still Charlotte. I got 9 months of weather, 21st floor in a Hyatt, dream sequence. Developer liked me, crossed kind of the Hyatt out of the situation and said, this is our guy, this is who we want, because I offered, we're a dinner house. My restaurants are dinner houses first and foremost. I can do the nightclub, and I have a beautiful party this Saturday with Steph Loss in Cleveland for Hennessy.
Yeah.
And I love those kind of engagements, but we have dinner first. And you go in Cleveland, you can walk upstairs and enjoy yourself on the rooftop. Sure. Sunsets, sundowns, golden hour. We do it all. We engage in every. And in Charlotte, it was just 21st floor, 2014. Hornets were owned by Jordan. Panthers in 15 went 16-1.
Yeah.
I'm friendly with football players. So early on in my career in Cleveland or Charlotte, these house parties, you'd have, guys playing video games, guys doing shots at the bar, and then you'd have the linemen in the kitchen hanging out with me by the buffet line. So Joe T, Joe Batonio, me, all sorts of players from Charlotte, just all kind of connected, and like Mitch Schwartz from the Chiefs, retired now. But just like I have this courtship with so many different players in the NFL or different sports leagues where they all like to eat, they all like to drink. And Charlotte's the intersection of Atlanta, is a very popular alumni city for a lot of different athletes.
Yeah.
But it's really overly saturated with traffic, so a lot of them have moved to Charlotte.
Sure.
On any given night in Charlotte, North Carolina, Cam Newton could be at my bar.
Yeah.
Clinton Portis could be at my bar. Roman Harper could be at my bar. Alex Rodriguez could be at my bar.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively just bought a home there. It's a connecting
in Charlotte.
city. They did. There's a school system that they like, and she's got a bunch of family from that area.
Okay.
So I think there are a lot of people that are in California are going back and forth or deciding where their secondary home is going to be for their children's schooling.
Yeah.
My chef in Charlotte, Justin, is a fantastic chef. He was with the UFC in Las Vegas for many years as their executive chef. So my relationship with the UFC is fairly strong through him. But he was there, and he moved from across country Las Vegas to Charlotte for school systems, just because they're really good in some ways. And Cleveland has really good, Solon, a lot of school systems in Cleveland stack up too. So all things that are important to me.
Sure, and one thing I want to talk to about, like with having these two restaurants, is branding. When people think about you, they think about something specifically, and then they also correlate that with Fahrenheit. How important was building that brand around that restaurant, around Fahrenheit, around you being a celebrity chef, and being able to use that to put up your restaurant so that those big names are able to come in and they can correlate Fahrenheit, Rocco Whalen with great food.
Well, I think it's the daily. You start one day at a time, and you try to engage people and enhance their experience, and that's the starting point. Fahrenheit is an idea. The idea is scripted by my wife and I, and we have all sorts of people that help in the process, from our dish technicians to our line cooks to our prep cooks to our servers to our bar, expo center, to our bartenders, to our rooftop, to our cleaners. We can't do it without everybody, and there's a whole line of people that deserve credit more so than me. I appreciate you saying the word celebrity, and I'm grateful for those words, and here's why. I think I am no more a celebrity than you sitting next to me, nor am I that person down the street that's doing a good deed. It simply has been the lane I've been. Opportunity has risen, but it keeps everybody in my company busy, food on their tables, the mortgages paid, in a time of turbulence where inflation is so high and interest rates are very difficult to buy a home. First-time home buyers right now, 6, 7, 8, 9%. Those are all important key factors. I want to keep my staff busy, and I want to keep them busy with work, and work is good deeds, and this is a hospitality industry based on tips and gratuity, and, you know, the best of the best happen to rise, and I think that we try to serve a good product. You know, again, Austin, you got to have a dynamic place where you have a happy hour price point. You have a late night price point. You want to go let her rip with me and have a $100 Wagyu steak. I'm your guy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's rock and roll,
but
baby.
That's not for everybody every night.
Yeah.
And that's certainly not for, you know, the masses, but, you know, we have options.
Yeah.
And we have pizzas, and we have salads, and we have desserts that are wonderful. Everything's made from scratch. And I'm a humble guy, man. Celebrity is a great word, but again, keep people busy, have the opportunity to take on the Tasty NFL, you know, be the co-chair to that event. The celebrity for that has gotten me and Joel Blatoni in a room, and it will raise a bunch of money on the 16th of September. $1, 3 meals. It does not discriminate who needs those meals. Man, woman, child.
Yeah.
That's what's important to me, and those dollars come back to the city.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And tell me a little bit about more of your philanthropy side, because I think that's so important. I mean, every kind of philanthropy in town, you have some kind of hands in it, or at least, you know, some of the bigger ones. You know, what are the ones that you're passionate about right now, and what can we kind of look forward to with some of these philanthropies coming up?
Tasty NFL is on my docket right now for September, because it's obviously a kickoff. You know, Austin, I'm that guy that's painted face September 8th, about 4:16 for that 4:25 kickoff. I'm getting ready. I've been a season ticket holder since '99, so September's a big taste month. But again, like Canines for Companions, Prayers from Maria on the west side, Rocky River, Eddie McNamara, shout out, or whoever I'm dealing with last night, Make-A-Wish. Obviously, women's cancer research is really important to me. Men's cancer research is really important to me. As you get older, I'm 48. Proudly to say I'm 48. I think for 48, I'm pretty, you know, try to walk the walk.
You're a spring chicken, baby.
You get older, you lose friends, you lose brothers, you lose sisters, you lose people that you want to start raising your philanthropy levels so that you can, man, I'm not treatment guy. I'm cure guy.
Yeah.
And I want to find cures. And I want to make sure that, you know, in 2005, when my mother passed away from colorectal cancer, that in 2024, we have better avenues for cure.
Yeah.
I'm not treatment guy. Treatments are great. And Cleveland Clinic, we're so blessed with our hospital networks here. I'm cure guy, though, and I want to find some, and I want to continue to find opportunities for, you know, there's certain cancers, Austin, and I say this wholeheartedly, that we have discovered a lot with, and there's certain cancers, it's like, you know, pancreatic cancer. It doesn't look good if you get diagnosed with something like that. The mysteries of life to me, man, and the philanthropy side has always left me cup full, as opposed to half cup full.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of thing, and that's just those are the things that really move me.
You know, and if you have the energy, the passion, and the network, why not? You know, because that was kind of where I was looking at, where, you know, my mom was diagnosed with multiple myeloma in 2018, and, you know, from then on, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get together with the American Cancer Society. I've done stuff with Leukemia Lymphoma Society, kind of any place that might need. It's just like. And so that's when I started doing the Crushing for Cancer event, which has been phenomenal. Sam McNulty has been incredible of donating a lot of space. He's just the man. He's just the man. Yeah. You know, and it's just like, you know, I was looking around. I was like, well, I have a bunch of these friends. I have a lot of great contacts. I have a lot of people that are generous in my network. Why not go and do something? And, you know, I mean, it's not been, I haven't raised like an absorbent amount of money, but, you know, I raised, you know, within the past 2 years, $40,000, you know, which is amazing.
Dollars make sense.
Absolutely.
Man. You're making something happen. You're putting faith and hope and all sorts of energy into that too, because the person on the other side of that, it's a gift. Mm-hmm. It's a gift, Austin. And don't minimize what you're doing, please.
Yeah. Oh, no, never.
We all start somewhere, and I think you're doing great things. And talk about relationships.
Yeah.
This is the kind of guy that can walk into, you know, talk about bridges with guardians. Sam McNulty's, I think, a guardian of the Ohio City Corridor, Brewery District.
Yeah.
Fabio and Nicole down in the Flats, Lago Sora, Bobby Rudder, Forward, the dynamic that those fellows bring to the table, you know, up towards me, you know, obviously you have Euclid Avenue and, you know, Cordelia over in East 4th and that region. You know, you have a lot of friends that see your good work. We want to help and enhance it. And I've always looked at it this way. I'm not that interesting, but if you want to come and hang out with me for a couple $100 for a good cause,
Yeah, and eat great
and I
food.
could throw together like an auction where we raffle off dinner with me or a day at the market with me, and then we go cook at the restaurant because I got the kitchen stadium on 55 now, and the carts and the dynamic space that we have. Like those philanthropy things those experiences are the ones that really make our work that much better.
Absolutely. And people love those experiences too, because, it's a once in a lifetime type of deal to be able to rub elbows with you. But, speaking of your new venture, it opened, are you guys a year in or 2 years?
I closed Tremont June of last year and I opened July 15th, 55. So we're a year and
a couple months, year and some change.
14 months.
It's gone quick, man. It's crazy. But I'll tell
Whirlwind.
you what, it is unbelievable. The first time I walked in there, I felt like I had to change my shorts because I was pooping my pants of how amazing this place is. I mean, it's unbelievable walking in there of just how absolutely gorgeous it is.
My radio chef Austin pooped.
Yeah, and Austin pooped. But what was that had to have been such an undertaking of completely transforming that building. I know there was a lot of investment in there, but also just the blood, sweat, and tears to be able to get that off.
Want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it, baby.
All right, so 1962, okay. Vernon Stouffer, that was the first restaurant operator in that space that I'm in now. Wasn't a great restaurateur. Better French bread pizza, half sheet tray lasagna, brewer of the creative. I mean, he wasn't a great restaurateur, but French bread pizza.
Yeah.
Not a bad fallback. 1976, 77, John Q's Steakhouse. So it was a morphed version of what Stouffer's should have been. Just became this bustling, cigar-y, woodsy, oaked-out steakhouse.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it. Judges, lawyers, doctors, everybody, the who's who. It was like, you go into the Palm on the West Coast and you've got the caricatures on the wall. It was similar to that without the caricatures, but, in the corner it was Browns players, and over here it was, George Forbes, and over there it was, Judge, at the time, a bunch of lawyers and doctors. So the space was always a legend. And in 2013 it went dark, and I, watched it go dark, and, the square from 13 until now has done a 720 from the foul line.
Totally.
It's true with Sherwin and myself and the light kits and the packaging and the ballasts and all the things that we can't get achieved fast. It's all becoming achievable now.
Yeah.
And the water and the kids zone and the activity and the activation in downtown Cleveland just took it over to manage it, and all those things kind of play into what makes a neighborhood.
Sure.
Sherwin Heights, call it Fahrenheit's. I don't care what you call it, but right now we're about to take ownership of 4,000 more jobs in the region, and there's not enough parking, and they're already starting another tower, and there's going to be more dust. But it's a really great time to be downtown in Cleveland, and I'm excited for it because, after 20-some years in Tremont, Austin, my wife and I sat back and said, we'd really like to do something else. I don't know if that is in Tremont or not, and at the time it just didn't work out that way, but I wasn't done yet, and I don't think a lot of people can take on the space of the magnitude of like a John Q's or a bigger restaurant on the square. I mean, I'm steps from Public Square unimpeded with a view on a rooftop downtown Cleveland for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
How many people can say that? The undertaking was amazing. It's been a wonderful, fruitful 14 months. Everything's been good. I've got an amazing staff from tip to toe. Employee number 1, which is me, to employee number 55. And then I've got another 90 employees in Charlotte. It's a little bit bigger of a store.
Yeah.
21st floor. So there's more, bells, whistles, got to get up, down. So there's more labor involved with that location. But Cleveland's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Sherwin opens in the next couple months. Again, lunch Tuesday through Friday, dinner every day of the week, late night, Browns games, Sundays, this, that, the other. The nice thing too about it is, we're open for Tuesday on lunch, but there's also, food truck Tuesdays at the square.
Sure.
And I recommend you go there and have a Swenson's burger once and come to me the next Tuesday or vice versa. I'm a food truck guy.
Yeah.
Because I was early on, and I watched the legislation grow, and now I've always had brick and mortars, so I always lean back and let food trucks always navigate because I think they have a great place in the city, and you need to be able to go get a truck food option.
Yeah.
Just like in Memphis, just like in Nashville, just like in Chicago, just like in Rockville, just like in, Charlotte. You got to be able to do these things so we all kind of happily live together. legislation goes and grows, and the trucks that are out are great. And I just like to find great ways to, expose good people to great things, and, having food trucks as an option on Tuesdays in the square, or Walnut Wednesday, or on the, at the Free Stamp on Thursday, whatever the scheduling is, it's awesome, because 20 years ago it didn't exist.
Sure.
And now it's like, boom, through full throttle, we're here, we're ready to go. I see the rock hall over your shoulder.
Yeah.
It's a great reminder that, the plaza there gets rolling with food trucks, and, free concerts on Wednesday nights. And there are things to do in Cleveland. And behind the rock hall, if you don't want to go to the concert, there's sand volleyball, and there's Nuevo for margaritas and tacos, and you're on the East 9th Street Pier, and life's good, man. Cleveland.
Sure. Yeah. So 2 restaurants, you got a bunch of places all over, Northeast Ohio, in terms of like being in the stadiums and the food truck and the whole deal. What's next? What can we expect for you next?
I'm in a really good place in my career.
Yeah.
55 is, I'm there daily if I'm not in Charlotte. I've really checked every box in my career. I'm certainly gangbusters for great new ideas, but my wife and I are really at a good point where we're just kind of watching everything kind of take shape, and continuing to watch Charlotte grow as a city, continuing to watch Cleveland smolder grow as a city, because guys, we didn't have rooftops, and now in Cleveland you've got mine, and you've got one above the convention center they just added, and you've got Garden of Eden over off the 9, and you've got the
McNulty's opening his this weekend.
Yeah. And God bless, good for Sam. We need that in Ohio City, and 65 seats. I saw the renderings. Good for him. I'll be up there.
Mm-hmm.
You want that. People like that, and I always have an adjoin and adjacent rooftop spaces to all my stores. So if there is something down the pipe, Austin's, look out. We're going to call it Austin.
Lovely's?
Lostons.
Yeah, Lostons. I like that. Yeah.
We're, we would do a rooftop entity with it. But, I get more kicks now, too, of just helping my staff achieve, grow, and wanting to find, like, I don't want to do a restaurant, but I want to do a Latin restaurant with a couple of my female Latin team members in the kitchen, and call it, like, Latin Nights, or,
that'll be fun,
something
just
really
trying
great.
to continue to elevate, though, that next generation.
That's what the stadium kitchen in Cleveland's for. It's a chef's table experience. So on any given night, you might get Gabby out of my shellfish bar doing an oyster presentation. You might get Marco, or Chef Russ, or Chef Brody, or Chef Juan, or Chef Matt. All sorts of people just getting out there, so engaging. This is another thing. Like, I scratched the surface. I sang in high school, too. I was in a show choir.
Look at you go, yeah.
Just because I could hold the tune and I could move all the equipment. This is another. But that show choir, Mentor Top 25, shout out Lake County, gave me stage presence.
Yeah.
And, so my stage presence now is like, hey, young culinarian, there's a 14 top table in the kitchen. We can't swear. We got to be elegant, and we got to be friendly, fun, and engaging. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm preparing, I feel, the next layer of young, bright, rising culinary men and women to exceed expectations in the city, and we need those kind of people. So is Vinny at Cordelia. So is the Chef Brandon at Marble Room. I don't have any enemies. I have guys, and I see people that, guys and girls, Karen Small, Juneberry Table, Burger Night, Veggie Night, Grilled Cheese Night. She's doing all sorts of wonderful creative stuff, and Karen and I have been friends for 25 years.
Yeah.
Get out, support local, have fun, be a nice person, do good for the community.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah. All right, let's see. We've been going for 51 minutes. Look at us go. I have some quick hitters before we roll.
Speed round.
Let's go. Best meal you've ever had?
My wife.
Yeah.
San Sebastian, which is, Spain. Tapas, me, you, the wives, late night snacks, pinchos. Forget about it. When we go to Rome, when we go to Spain, when we're going to the places. Yeah. We're going to the underground. The chefs step out of the way because Bobby Flay could be in the corner there. Rocco Whalen. We're going to the underground chef places. San Sebastian, though, and without a doubt, Austin. Number 2 through 10,000 are all tied. Experiences. You put something in your mouth, it makes you close your eyes and think about it for a second. And just be like, I just think I pooped my pants. To reference you earlier.
It happens.
San Sebastian, pinchos, tapas, go. And that's what they do, man. You don't get going and you don't start barking until about midnight.
Yeah.
And it's late and the streets are close and it's barbaric, but you're getting wine and there's food everywhere. And so not just one meal, an instance or an experience, tapas in San Sebastian.
Love it. Most famous person to have walked into one of your restaurants?
Geez. Famous in which sense? Rita Moreno is coming in a few weeks, and she was in The Sound of Music. She's a 30-year veteran of Broadway. I mean, I get people all the time. DaBaby last summer, Moneybag.
Most famous athlete.
Most famous athlete? I mean, locally, Joe Thomas. He's a friend of mine. I mean, I serve his beef. His All-American beef is served at my burger patties. I'm the only one in Ohio. That's the kind of relationship I have with Joe.
I had Joe on in December, and
best.
I asked him what his favorite restaurant was in Cleveland, and he said Fahrenheit. Yeah,
He's the man, he's the best.
He's the man.
He's in Munich, coaching
Yeah.
German football players.
Yeah, the Ravens.
Yeah, you know, because
When is he coming back? I feel like he's been there for like
soon.
2 years.
He's got to come back because we're going to have a Where's the Beef dinner
Nice.
for the Brown season, and you know, Yellow Jacket kind of thing. He's the man. Famous athletes, though, I've served Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And as far as fame goes, he was the owner of Charlotte. I've served him many times. He's a Midwell filet kind of guy. He's usually there with Ahmad Rashad.
Yeah.
And a couple of, Bob Costas. It just depends on his crew of people. He's, as far as fame, I mean, there's not many other.
Being a kid from growing up outside Chicago in the 90s, there's no more famous person in the world to me than Michael Jordan.
I'll tell you this, though.
Yeah.
Interesting. LeBron, first year, double cheeseburgers, French fries. Year 11 in Miami, steamed asparagus, salmon.
Okay.
Year 15, 16, crowning us in Cleveland, which, bless him, the best. Mild diet, superfoods. So I've watched and evolved through his diet in his 20-some-year career. And the guy's a machine. His chef, Dina Marino, is a dear friend of me. We knew each other way before she became LeBron's personal chef in Savannah. You know, she lives next door to them in Brentwood in L.A. He eats well, so he's famous. I mean, all the best. We hosted the 19 All-Star, and we hosted in Charlotte, and we hosted the 22. So athletes, though, I really enjoy some of my friendships. Roman Harper, athlete that gives back. Harper's Hope, Harper's Foundation, Hope 41. There's so many guys that can either sit back on the sidelines as an athlete after their career's over or take on upon themselves to do the things that you're doing or taking by the throat an initiative, a cancer of this person or that person or this foundation. And there's so many different good causes. Fame is based on how you treat people, and people want to treat you back. So
Totally.
I want to treat everybody.
Just because you're a celebrity doesn't mean you need to be an a-hole.
Nah, Michael Jordan's great.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, some of the rappers and artists are great too. They like to eat and have a great time. Everybody likes to eat and have a good time.
Hey,
Chefs and crews are part of the deal. It's like,
absolutely.
Chef. But listen, LeBron chefs back in the day, if he wanted 300 chicken wings crispy at 4 a.m. because Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony and Rich Paul, you had to be ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
You weren't like, I didn't get my call. You had to. It's a tough. Glenn was his first chef. He's in Charlotte now, a friend of me. Chef G Money. It's hard though, man. It's hard.
Yeah,
you got to be ready to go. 4 o'clock in the morning. Huh.
Yeah.
Because those guys are flying back from Japan, and they're not necessarily on the same time zone as we are, and you got to be prepared. And those things are not lessons that you're ever taught, you ever learned. Like, oh, how is it somewhat glamorous to be Chef Rocco at 4 a.m. meeting LeBron's plane to drop breakfast off for 10 associates?
Yeah,
because he's wheels up at 5 a.m. That was another key, though, to success, and I'll make it quick because I know we're rapid firing here, but you got to always be there to say, I'll do it. Like if anybody early on in my career, Austin Love or Kenny Crumpton, hey, this guy called out or he got sick, can you be here in no time notice? I was always that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always wanted to be there and show up and exceed expectations and deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, dream dinner guest.
In this world right now, dream dinner guest. It's just, man, what are you doing to me? It's pre-noon on this stuff. Honestly, some great world leaders. I think some people that want to continue to.
They could be alive. They could be dead too. Alive.
I'd love to talk and have a chat with some of the old ex-presidents. Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon. Just to dig it.
Tricky dick.
Watergate. What are you thinking, brother? I'm a historian. I like history. Yeah. My wife and I just watched Wyatt Earp with on Netflix. Man, boy, oh boy, man, would I be so unproductive if I had Netflix 20 years ago?
Oh my gosh,
we watched the Wyatt Earp behind the scene. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I really like history though. So any of the wars, any of the generals, Patton.
Yeah.
Stonewall Jackson, I'm your guy. I like any
that.
of those guys. Those are one-off experiences. Like the first guy that died from E. coli, threw undercooked meat in his mouth, died.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm a Billy. I haven't seen him, man, but he was eating on that cow over there, and it was steaming kind of weird. And Billy's no longer here.
We should take some notes from what happened to Billy.
Yeah. Right, that's what I'm saying. So like these guys, Stonewall Jackson, or what happened at Bunker Hill, or when you stormed the beach at Normandy. There's so many different questions. I'm curious. I'm a curious guy when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, if an alien came down and they didn't know anything about Cleveland cuisine, how would you describe it?
Layered, laced, ethnic, and overly ambitious.
I love that.
Cleveland has got to be ambitious because we're the mistake on the lake, the burning river,
right. Chip on our shoulder,
potatoes, pierogi palace. It's all BS in my world. There's great food on all sorts of places and all sorts of corners. I can take you again up Detroit now on to the Shoreway to the 60s and 70s, or West 25th, or Slavic Village, or the corridors downtown, Bracknell, East Side. I can take you anywhere and find great places to go and eat.
Love it. Last question. It is August 30th.
Yeah.
How are the Browns finishing this year?
I said 13-4, 12-5. It's a 17-game stretch, right? There's 17 games.
17
yeah, I
games.
think we go into the playoffs, and we go into the playoffs deep.
How far?
Conference championship.
Conference
I don't know
championship.
I'd like to say Super Bowl. I think we have from 1 to 53. So not even talking about my boys, Wyatt, Joel, Zentner, Zachy, my young pups. I'm teaching them how to eat and go in on that 32-ounce tomahawk and over the top. Like I said, top rope stuff. Joe Thomas comes in with his All-American beef.
Yeah.
I think we have a really solid team. Nick Chubb is ready to bounce back week 4. Deshaun's ready to go full season under his belt as far as, Flacco came in last year and we had a fun season, right?
That was fun as hell.
I won't even denounce that happened because it was amazing.
Yeah.
I love our back half. I love Martin Emerson. I love Denzel, even though he's concussed. He's kind of working through that a little bit. I love Stefanski, and I love the element. So I've been through a lot of different regimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I've watched it all kind of grow and manifest. And, Romeo Crennel, Eric Mangini, John Collins, Phil Savage. I've been through a lot.
Yeah. Browns fans have been
I like them at 12-5. I like people to have fun. I like people to be safe. I like people to enjoy cheesesteaks, meatballs, mozzarella, pizza slices. I'm all over the stadium. I'm in the stadium. We do a lot of interaction during the games. So when we're like hype and we're 12-5 and we're going like we're 10-1 and the Bengals are coming into town.
Yeah.
Like Cleveland's, there's no better place to be. We're loud. We're ambitious. We definitely know how to parking lot, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Where we had a
1,000,000%.
in Muni lot.
I don't even go to the games. I just go down to the Muni lot and hang out.
Enjoy it. I don't know if it's going to be around forever.
Yeah, I know.
Brook Park
that's all right.
could be potentially on the table.
That's a whole different podcast.
I know, right? Dude, first and foremost, thank you. Cheers to you.
Dude, thank you for coming on, man.
I don't do a ton of these because I don't really open up to a lot of different folks, but I'm glad that I got a chance to sit down with you today. And I was, you weren't persistently persistent. You were just gently. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it.
Hey,
I want to talk. You're a great guy.
Yeah.
I love your persona. Real estate. Get out there. Check it out.
It's rock and roll, baby. Before we say goodbye, where can people find you? Where can they find more information about Fahrenheit, the whole deal? Plug yourself.
FahrenheitRestaurants.com. Rock One Chef on all the platforms, Insta, Twitter, Facebook. In the restaurants is where you can find me.
Bam.
Even cooler than the Instagram photos is in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come see us. Happy hour, late night, Browns games, before, during,
Check out the Chef's Table.
Chef's Table, party rooms, rooftop, fire pits. Listen, in the engagement this weekend, real quick, it's August 30th. Classic Cars on Sunday, 11 to 4. Exotics downtown. All my friends over in North Olmsted. Again, Guardians are going to continue to sweep the season. We're going to get to the playoffs. We're going to talk about it. We're going to be in October Ball. And then October Ball turns into the Cavs, and Donovan wanted to be here, and $50 million is enough reasons for him to come back every year. And I love it. Let's go.
It's a phenomenal time to be in Cleveland. I'm pumped up about it. It's also a phenomenal time to eat in Cleveland. Rocco Whalen, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Peace.